Okay, it's time to play some fighting games and answer some questions. If you're wondering which side I'm on, it's the side with Android 21. No one else plays Android 21. So, first up is, I'm playing with an Echo one-trick. What's the best DPS hero I can play with him? He's usually running off, and it's too loud. It's hard to keep up. What should I be doing in particular when playing with an Echo? I don't think you really need to go out of your way to play with Echo, to be honest with you. It kind of sounds like, from what you've said, the dude is basically going off and flanking a lot. In which case, maybe consider picking, like, a more consistent DPS, like Soldier, McCree, Ashe, to, like, go along with it, because, like, people who are flanking sometimes take a while to really, like, get in position and get stuff done, so having like another consistent DPS is helpful, but like, I don't think you really need to go out of your way, like, as the other DPS anyway, to really play around the Echo too much. You know, if somebody on your team also picks Mercy, then, picking like Pharah to go along with it also makes sense, because then you can do the full flight school comp. But yeah, I would say don't, like, really worry about it that much. I can't really think of any DPS offhand, because, like, I play a lot of Echo, and I can't really think of any DPS in the game that I'm particularly excited to play with, really, because Echo kind of just does her own thing, really. Yeah, basically if they're like flanking a lot, maybe just pick another consistent DPS, but other than that, I don't really have any, like, real advice. I think, like, Echo plays pretty well with pretty much everyone, really. Yeah. So, next up, does Zarya Bubble eat a D.Va bomb? Well, it won't eat the whole bomb, but it will block line of sight behind you. Like, if you're playing Pharah, or is that Pharah? If you're playing Zarya and you walk up and bubble, you count as a shield, so, like, you'll block line of sight from that bomb going behind you, but it won't eat the whole bomb, no. Like, if you push yourself right on top of it, the guys on the opposite side of the bomb are still at risk, but you as Zarya can count as line of sight when your bubble is up, yes. Next, is D.Va really that bad of a tank right now? Nah, she's fine, dude. It was a little sketchy before the Roadhog nerf, admittedly, because Roadhog, well, I mean, to be fair, most tanks were. But it was a little sketchy before the Roadhog nerf, but, like, now, like, it's fine, dude. The problem with D.Va's perception is that it's not that she's harder to play than the other tanks. It's that you need to be more conscious of what you're doing. As D.Va's very easy to fuck up, pretty much. Like, it's very easy to fuck up as D.Va and just end up, like, turbo feeding the other team, pretty much. Because, like, you gotta be, and you do with every tank, but, like, with, like, D.Va and Roadhog in particular, you can, and, like, Hammond as well, actually, you can end up feeding the enemy team a lot of ult charge if you're not careful, and most D.Va players are not terribly careful. So, I think this leads to D.Va having a worse perception, as far as, like, her meta position goes than she actually does, because I think she's basically always been fine. It's just, when you watch, you know, the D.Va player on your team play like the D.Va player on your team, it's hard to not go, like, oh, D.Va must just be bad. Nah, it's more of an issue of, like, the way that people tend to play D.Va than anything else. Like, D.Va herself is, like, fine. Okay, there it is. I still haven't played, because I'm just waiting for my beautiful turtle boy to come out, so I was like, oh, we'll go back to the older ones. He's coming out in a week, it's great. Anyway, yeah, D.Va's not that bad. She's pretty much fine, especially after the Roadhog nerf, which, admittedly beforehand it was a little sketchy, but now she's definitely fine. She's definitely fine. And, like, if you're not in, like, you'll get a different answer depending on who you ask, but I'm gonna go with, if you're not in Masters, like, somebody, like, below that, you can play pretty much whatever the fuck you want, and it'll be fine, as long as the person isn't, as long as the hero isn't legitimately, like, Bastion. You know? You'll be fine. Next up. How can I be more clear about calling the location of enemies? So, the trick is that you're trying to be as specific as you possibly can, but you're trying to keep it to a minimal amount of words, right? So, you always want to include the name of the hero that you're calling out. This seems like it would be obvious, but it apparently isn't. So, you always want to say the name of the hero, and you want to try and be as specific as you can. Just like left or right is usually good enough for people to have, like, a decent idea of where it is, but, like, depending on who you're playing with, just left or right might not be good enough. So you want to be specific. Using health kits can be helpful. Like, if you say left near the big health kit, right near the small health kit, people generally know what that means. So that's good to do, and, like, you know, you can get it as specific as you want, right? Because if you want to try and go for, like, positions on the map, that's, like, as specific as you can be, but not everywhere is super easy to, like, name, especially on the moment. Some places are, like, if you're, like, say, Gibraltar on the ship, everyone knows what that means, right? Or Gibraltar, like, on the staircase near the big health kit, or staircase big health kit, right? People know what that means. But if you say, like, be a good example. If you say, like, Havana near the tanks, not everybody's gonna immediately know that that means the giant containers in the second checkpoint, right? Even though they're a fairly large focal point of the map. You know, I'll wager some people, when I said that, went, the tanks on Havana. You know? So, like, generally left or right is going to be enough. Using help kits is helpful. You want to be as specific as you possibly can. Like, some other, like, more specific examples are, like, King's Row in the theater. Like, the first checkpoint. What else would be, like, a good example? Numbani, in the lobby, large health kit, you know, or under large health kit would work also, you know. You want to try and be specific. Sometimes just, depending on the map, just saying high ground will be good enough as well. Because, like, if you're attacking, like, Numbani and you say, soldier, high ground, everyone knows where, it doesn't even matter what checkpoint you're on. Everybody's gonna know where the soldier is at that point, because there's only, like, the one place you are, right? Like, Dorado, high ground, they know where that is. But, like, the usually left or right is good enough, but, like, the lower SR you are, the more specific you're gonna want to be, but you're still gonna want to try and keep it as few words as possible. And always say the name of the hero. This is also very important, I've discovered, from, like, the people I play with. Is very, very good to learn which way left and right are. Because apparently, distinguishing between left and right in the moment can be somewhat difficult. If that's the case, maybe do what my one friend does and put some fucking sticky notes on the side of your monitor that say left and right on them. It's very depressing to me that people are this way, and much less people that I know. This guy played Android 21 as well. Wow. But I'd never play base Goku. I'm not that disgusting. Yeah, so... Anyway, you know, there we go. Next question. How do you play against a good Sombra? Now, this guy specifically was asking if you're a tank or a healer, in which case I've got bad news for you. There are no tanks and healers that are good against Sombra, really. I know you're tempted to say Bridget. You're tempted to say Bridget is a good support against Sombra. you seem to have forgotten what they've done to Bridget. Sombra is not scared of Bridget anymore. She's not scared of Bridget anymore. The best you get, like tank-wise, against Sombra, basically you want to be less dependent on your abilities to get stuff done. And the best one for that is Zarya, pretty much. Because, like, if you lose access to your bubbles for a second or two, it's not really the end of the world. They have pretty long cooldowns, you know? And if Sombra hacks you and then, like, goes for you, like, you just turn around and start lasering her, right? Like, you're pretty much fine. Zarya also is pretty good at checking for an invisible Sombra. Aside Zarya, the best you get's probably Winston. For the same reason that you're not really too bothered if you get hacked, unless, like, you know, she hacks you as you're jumping in and suddenly you can't use your ult or your bubble, but, like, that's not really how Sombra players act. So, like, you're probably fine for the most part as, like, Winston. They're, like, the best you get, but there's no tank that counters Sombra. And I know you're also tempted to say Roadhog. Right, like, you're thinking, Roadhog's pretty good against Sombra. No. Let's be realistic here. If the Sombra's bad, sure. But we're talking about a good Sombra specifically in this question. A good Sombra will always bully around as a Roadhog. Always. All things being equal, that Sombra is just gonna farm the fuck out of that Roadhog, okay? So no, Roadhog also doesn't counter Sombra, unless Sombra is bad, but that's not what we're talking about. So that's like the best you get. And support, you don't get fucking anything, really. Like, again, you're looking for people that are not too bothered about losing their abilities. And when we're talking about supports, you don't get many of them, right? Like, the most obvious example of not being too bothered about losing their abilities is, like, Zenyatta. But Zenyatta is still gonna get bullied around by a Sombra any day of the week. So, then... yeah, and, like, Lucio, you get completely fucked, right? Like, you get real... If you're playing against a good Sombra and you were playing Lucio, stop playing Lucio. You're gonna get bullied to fuck. She's gonna eat your ult with her ult. She's gonna hack you. There's not much you can do about it. It's gonna feel bad, and you're gonna... it's gonna feel bad. You're gonna wish for it to stop. So stop playing Lucio. Ana's not bad. She can, like, fight without her abilities, and, like, if you start getting hacked and you just, like, throw the grenade at your feet, sometimes that's good enough to just stop the Sombra. I've also seen, like, a surprising number of Anas that are pretty good at, like, spinning around and sleep darting the Sombra, because they tend to just be standing behind the Ana perfectly still, hacking her. So I've seen, like, a surprising number of Anas that can actually do that to a Sombra. But again, we're talking about a good Sombra, so you probably won't get that kind of sleep on them. But Ana's, like, not terrible for it, but, like, no support is happy to play against Sombra. Again, a good Sombra will bully around a Bridget any day of the week. Like, Bridget's so free when she's hacked. Like, it's not even funny. So you don't get any options, really. Like... really, the best thing you can do if you're playing tank or support, and you're gonna laugh, but I swear to you, I'm being dead fucking serious, okay? I'm being 100% fucking serious with you right now. The best thing you can do is ask your DPS player to change to Torbjorn. I'm not joking. Torbjorn turret is fucking annoying to play against a Sombra, because suddenly, the Sombra has to worry about that turret first, right? Like, the turret is supremely annoying to Sombra players. Like, that's probably the best thing you can do. And then after that, you know, you get some obvious Sombra answers as well. Like, McCree is gonna be pretty good. Ashe is actually pretty good because she's not too worried about her abilities again, right? Like, she can still aim down her sights, so like, that's kind of the important thing. Hanzo is also pretty good for Sombra. This is gonna be a little contentious, but I'd say playing any of the snipers, really, against Sombra is pretty good, because, again, Sombra, like, will have to prioritize those snipers. So, like, you can just play around this fact and kind of stick close to the sniper, and just get the Sombra when she comes for him, because she will prioritize the snipers above all else. And, like, Hanzo, Ashe, they're not even really that bothered if they get hacked. And Widow, like, she's, like, it's not the worst thing in the world. And, like, with the Venom Mine as well, it can be kind of annoying for Sombra to approach Widowmaker. I actually think the snipers are better against Sombra than most people would assume they are, but I admit that that point will be somewhat contentious. But, like, yeah, if you're playing, like, tank and support, there's not a lot you can do against a good Sombra. You're pretty much gonna have to, like, ask your DPS to do stuff. Because, really, the thing you do against a good Sombra is you use teamwork, as disgusting as that is. Because it remains difficult to fight multiple people as one person. So, if there's a Sombra giving your team trouble, and, like, 4 of you just resolve to make Sombra's life difficult together, what's Sombra gonna do? You know? So, that's like, kinda it, really, is, like, if you're a tank or a healer, eat shit, ask your DPS to do it for you, and hope they do. And use some teamwork, as disgusting as the concept is. I know. So, next up. In lower ranks, is it my job to babysit or allow those who overextend to suffer consequences? So, only a Sith deals in absolutes. You know, there are times when it's worth going out of your way to try and help this guy that, like, has overextended. Assuming it's, like, tenable in any way for the guy to do something, and you can try and help him without putting yourself in significant risk, it's, like, worth going for. But here's the thing. If you're playing a support, and you're in a position where you're in a good place, it's very safe, and you can support, like, 4 of your teammates, and one guy goes and overextends, that's his fault. The onus is on him to play in a way that is helpful for his team, right? Like, if you're in a good position and this dude just goes off to do his own fucking thing, that's on him. You have no obligation to go and help him. It's his fault for overextending when the team is clearly working together on something right now. That's his problem, and you can safely leave him to die without even feeling bad about it, because fucking, we're playing Numbani, I'm on the point above the point, behind on the high ground, everybody's hanging out, great time, and I can see everybody. Roadhog goes off on a solo mission and gets caught by the enemy team going under. It's his fault. It's his fucking fault, and I'm not gonna go out of my way to save the guy. He's fucking dead. He's in that tiny room getting ganked by 6 people. I'm on the high ground behind the point. I'm not going down. I'm not jumping down to go over and maybe save that guy when he's the one that fucked up. You know, I'm not sacrificing my very good position to try and help someone that I probably can't save that fucked up. That's on him. And just generally, if you think there's a significant chance you're gonna die trying to help that guy, don't do it. You're worth more than him because you're the support. So don't do it. At the end of the day, it's your job to help win the game. So you just ask yourself this question when you're sat there, when you're like watching this dude go off and do his own fucking thing and get caught. Here's what you do. You ask yourself, does me going and helping this guy seem like it would help us win the game in any way? Or does it seem like maybe he doesn't die when he fucked up now? Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Fuck him. Fuck him. He fucked up, not my problem. I'm trying to win the game, and he just went off on this solo mission as Roadhog and got ganked by 6 people. Me going out of my way to try and help him does not significantly increase my chances of winning. So I'm just gonna leave him to fucking die, right? And just like, you're the most important member of the team as a support, you are the most important member of the team. If you ever think that your life is in danger going to help someone, don't do it. Don't do it. People have this conception with playing support in all games, but like with Overwatch as well. People have this conception that you need to be really altruistic and like selfless when you're playing support or like a white mage in like in any like MMO, right? Like that you need to be really altruistic and like, oh, I'm a good Christian girl and I'm gonna go out of my way to save this guy. I'm self-sacrificing and all that. Nah, fuck him. You're the most important member of the team, bar none. Fuck them. It's their fault. Fuck them. That's my stance on the issue. Next up, why are players so worried about following the meta in low ranks? So, there's a combination of, like, people just being stupid, wanting an easy way out, and a tendency of human beings to oversimplify matters, right? Because what happens is they watch the pro players playing these heroes, and they shun the other heroes for the most part, right? So what this usually means is that X hero has a slight advantage over Y hero. So we pick X hero over Y hero because I'm a pro player and I'm trying to win, so I pick the hero that has the advantage, even if it's relatively minor. But what that gets boiled down to is X is good and everyone else is bad, right? That's what it gets boiled down to. So it results in them just blindly copying the pro players because, well, if they're playing them, that must mean they're good, and that must mean if they're not playing the others, they must be bad. It's just how humans are. They oversimplify these things. And then there's the... People also want the easy way out, so they just look at what the pro players are doing and go, oh, well, this is obviously the best thing you can do, and then they just blindly copy that regardless of context surrounding. So both of these things happen, pretty much. And this is, of course, like, complete nonsense because things I've talked about 1,000 times before. If you don't know how to leverage X advantage, then it becomes completely meaningless to you anyway. Personal skill is always greater than all other things. It doesn't matter if X is better than Y. If you're better at Y than X, you should pick Y because you're better at that hero. Doesn't matter if the other hero is better, you're better with that hero, so you should play that hero because it's the hero you're better at. Personal skill with the hero remains the only thing that actually matters. Everything else is completely irrelevant. Meta, comp, tier list position, all that shit, irrelevant. Doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is your personal skill with the hero. Everything else is secondary. If you can play X hero and Y hero to the exact same degree, then logically there's no reason that you would not pick the hero that has the advantage, but that's assuming you're equally skilled with both heroes, which is probably not the case. But if you are, hey, great, pick that hero that's better. Otherwise, fuck it, pick the hero you're better at. And, like, if somebody ever tells you to switch to a hero, like, don't fucking do it if you don't know how to play that hero. Well, like, the suggestion just doesn't make sense to you, right? Because I've seen people, like, legitimately, like... I've seen this exact situation where you'll be playing against a team that's like fucking Diva, Roadhog, Pharah, Echo, Mercies, Ana, and then the person will go, hey, change to Reaper. And you go, why? And they go, because of Roadhog. And you go, what about the other 5 fucking heroes? But they don't care. They don't care. So I don't ever do what people say if it doesn't make sense to you, because people say such fucking nonsensical bullshit. Like, you gotta be ready to just completely write what people say off. Yeah, but, like, that's why people do it. They want an easy way out, and they just blindly copy the pros, and they oversimplify things, resulting in these tremendously unnuanced takes on situations where they're just like, X just must be good and Y must be bad. So, why the fuck are you playing Y? Don't you know Y's bad? Why is Y bad? Y is bad. And that's how it always goes, right? These people that say these things, they don't even know why. Like, 9 times out of 10, if they're saying that you should pick X because they're meta, ask them why. And invariably, the answer you get is because the pros are playing them, or something to that effect. They don't know the actual reason why that hero is meta. They never do. Because if they did, they wouldn't be in fucking silver, would they? But they don't know the reason. And if you press them on why X is meta, they don't know. Because they've just blindly copied what other people have said, without understanding why. I'm watching this game in the background, right? And I am truly mind-boggled by the fact that this guy just fell for the exact same fucking thing like 8 times in a row. Which was just that after I did my combo, he tried to reflect to get me off of him immediately after he woke up. And I baited the reflect like 4 times in a row. And he still said to himself, he probably won't bait it the 5th time in a row, and then got baited for the 5th time in a row. It was I actually can't believe what I saw in the background. It was amazing how many times he tried to reflect, and it didn't work, but he kept doing it. Adaptation to your opponent is very important in fighting games. In video games in general, but fighting games, adaptation is very hard skill to learn is adaptation. Now you'll notice I'm still bad. That remains true. But Jesus fucking Christ, like, eventually you have to realize the plan's not gonna work. Stop trying to go through the same fucking choke point 9 times in a row when you got aced every single time. Try a different fucking door. That's why Jeff gave them to us. So next up, and this is the last question for this week, is best use of Mercy's ult. So, Mercy's ult is not a magic no you button like some other support ultimates are, right? Like you like if you're in a bad situation and you're playing Zenyatta, you go no you with your ultimate, right? And then suddenly you can like try and flip it back around. Mercy's ult doesn't do that. Mercy's ult, you want to use it right as the fight is starting, and you want to use that damage boost as much as you possibly can. I want you to think of yourself. When you use Mercy's ultimate, this is how I want you to imagine yourself. You are Orissa's Bongo, but you are capable of movement. That's what you are. You can also heal, but you don't want to if you can. You want to just like lay into that damage boost button as much as you possibly can. Now, of course, you're not going to be able to just sit there and damage boost the entire time. Unfortunately, the video game is slightly harder than that. Tragic, I know. But you want to use the damage boost as much as you possibly can while you're using Valkyrie, because damage boost has always been the strongest thing about Mercy, except for that point in time when Resurrection was completely fucking broken, but we've moved past. We're a more evolved species now. Ever since they nerfed Res, like, the strongest thing about Mercy has always been damage boost. If you can damage boost 5 people, that's fucking insane, dude. Fucking damage boost 5 people as much as you possibly can. You will have to heal. Tragic, I know, but our hypothetical goal that we try to work towards is damage boosting constantly. Just like when we're playing Moira, our hypothetical goal is to be hitting 11 people with Coalescence. We never are, but that is the ideal we strive towards at all points in time. And then the other thing with Mercy's ult, if you spot somebody off on their own, and you think you got a good chance of killing that guy, go fucking get him. You see Anna sat over in the corner by herself, and you're using Valkyrie, you'll probably kill Anna. You can probably kill that Anna. Killing somebody remains being one of the most impactful things you can do in the entire game, particularly healers. So if you spot like a good opportunity where somebody's off by themselves and you think you can kill them as Mercy while you're using Valkyrie, go fucking get them, dude. It's pretty hard to actually fight off Mercy while she's using Valkyrie. Unless you're a hero that's got like pretty easy crowd control to land, like McCree with his flashbang. Otherwise, fucking go get him. Just fucking get him. Yeah, there you go. That's how you use Mercy's ult. Pretty straightforward. Damage boost. And just like use it at the start of the fight. It's in no way really like gonna flip a fight around that you were losing. So you'll want to use it to try and gain the advantage early, because it won't like flip the advantage back towards you. You want to use it early to try and gain the advantage, gain the momentum before the other team can. Hello, my son. Are you coming to join us in the last few moments while we wait for this game to end? No, he decided not to, actually. Yeah, we have to wait for the game to end. Roshi's going to come out on the 18th, so that's very exciting. I think he's actually coming out before that. If you own, like, the season pass, then you get him 2 days early. I'm too poor for that. I can buy Roshi, though. I'm waiting for that. It's going to be great. I'm gonna be very excited. I'm probably going to play, like, Kefla 21, and then Roshi is the anchor, assuming that's possible. Roshi might be a terrible anchor, we'll see. And then that will, of course, be very thematically appropriate, right? Where we send in the 2 good-looking girls first, they fight, they get all sweaty, they rough it up, they roughhouse, right? And then Roshi comes in at the end, excited from having watched the 2 girls previously fight things out, and then he gets big, and he beats up the remaining enemies. It's perfect. It's great. It's very lore-friendly, of course. I'm very excited for it. My beautiful turtle boy. I've waited for so long. All we need now is to get Hercule and Bulma in a mech, and we will have successfully beaten the video game. It's probably gonna be fucking Raditz and, Omega Shenron, though, if I had to guess. Anyway. Thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. More than happy to answer. If you have a question you would like to see answered on the show, post a comment, smoke signals, join the Discord, whatever the fuck you want to do. I'm sorry once again for the lack of content. I resolve to do better. I am sorry. I am sorry. I apologize. And if you manage to make it all for the videos, please like the video and subscribe for more content and link quality in the future. And I hope you found the video helpful.